So hello everyone and welcome to the next game of the All Boss Tokens tournament for Bugs Bunny and Taz Time Busters. And today's game sees Ayaash take on Tascan in an all-French encounter. And joining me in commentary today, myself, the Blue Knights, is the 100% world record co-op holder. It's Treble20. Hello, Treble.
Hello, Blue Knight. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for that intro every time. Cracks me up.
I'm very predictable. So both players lost their last game. Unfortunately, Ayaash lost to Bearhead, which you might say was a bit of a surprise, but he actually Bearhead actually did really well. And that has really opened up this tournament. So a win for Tascan today makes things exceptionally interesting because it means all the bottom are actually jammed up on one win. But Tascan will probably need to win today in order to keep any title hopes alive.
Yeah, well, they were both really close races. Ayaash missing out by only 9 seconds, if I recall correctly, against Bearhead. And Tascan was neck and neck with Trips right until the penultimate split. So it's going to be another corker today, I reckon.
Certainly should be. Yes, Tascan was in the lead, wasn't he, until Zouvania. Well, certain trips led the way most of the time, but Tascan took the lead in Zouvania, but then he didn't pick up the boss token, and in the end, that's what settled it in the end.
Yeah, it was a cruel way to go, but.
So I think both players have started. So to start us off here, what both players are going to do is the flying box strat. This is the unintended way of getting out of Greenwich.
The first time of many where we go out of bounds in this game, for those unfamiliar with it.
Now, how you do this is you get Bugs to sneak in between the two boxes. You get Taz to push the box onto Bugs' head. And if you call Taz with Bugs from the correct position, if you call Bugs with Taz from the correct position, Bugs should fall below the box and become out of bounds like this. Now, you might have noticed Ayaash got the boxes stuck together. And now this isn't too much of a problem because you can push the boxes back out. So Ayaash managing to recover really well there early on.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest tricks, I would say. I've recently tried to learn it while I was thinking about joining this tournament. Decided to leave it to the pros, if you will, but it's something that I couldn't get down myself.
It is a hard trick to do. The position of Taz and the camera are the most important things. So with this trick, we go to Viking first. We don't go to Aztec, which is where you're supposed to go. And this is because there are two power-ups that we pick up. We've already picked up the one, which is the Taz to throw Bugs ability. We're going to talk more about this later. But now both players are out of bounds again, and they're picking up our first token. And you're supposed to find all these statues and push them into place. But this out of bounds skips doing all of that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell on this out of bounds in particular, but when the runners are out of bounds in the air, they are moving in a certain direction. They know exactly where to go to land in the correct spot.
Now, Ayaash has missed the token there. You can fall through the floor when you do this, and if that happens, you have to basically do the whole out of bounds trick again, only you don't have to move. So this gives Tascan a slight lead as he moves into what we call super bugs.
Yeah, but this sort of thing showcases why this is a really good game for a newcomer, because it's not too punishing there that he missed that. You can try again from the out of bounds state. Obviously, you lose a bit of time, but learning, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing about this game is if you're a beginner, even if you're a beginner, it shouldn't take you too long to complete this game. In this category, it should take about 45 to 50 minutes, I would say. So Tascan now in our first level, which is the shield race. This is an auto scroll. We're going to see all 4 of these, and these are fairly straightforward in this category. You just have to get to the end of this level, beat the 2 guys down to the bottom of the hill. Once you do that, you get the boss token.
And all of them contain catchy, annoying music.
They do actually, yes. these levels, these levels in this category are fine, but in 100% they're much more challenging. In 100% you have to go through these gates that you're seeing. Every time you go through them, they light up, and you need to go through them all in order to pick up a 25 gear. So I should explain the storyline of the game very quickly. Granny hires Daffy to remove this pest. Granny takes the time gem instead of taking the rat. And this means that he takes the time gem instead. That means he disrupts time, and it's the job of Taz and Bugs to go through the 4 different areas of the game and to restore time. Oh, now Tascan.
Sorry, you go.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Tascan doing quite an interesting chat there, rolling to Moon Valley.
And Ayaash has now got his boss token. He'll be heading to Moon Valley 2.
So Moon Valley is the puzzle / mini boss token. So the idea of this category is you do a homeworld token, an auto scroll token, and a mini boss puzzle token. And we'll do this basically 4 times over. Now, Tascan does this slightly differently to the rest of us. He goes for the super bugs method, which is an older trick that we used to do. This was in the days of when Treble was here. And it only loses about 10 seconds on the method that Ayaash is doing now.
Yeah, I just retired, if you will, when the new route for Moon Valley came in.
Now, this is a good thing. It means we get to see super bugs again. For those of you who enjoy watching this, it is a really funny move. I've got to be honest, super bugs.
Yeah, it's quite a quick movement. It's a shame that it's not accessible or usable in other areas of the game.
I can certainly vouch for that. That's to be much more useful than 100%. So Ayaash has done the first light switch, and to fight the boss, you have to find all of these light switches and then knock them down. Now, unfortunately, Tascan has killed Bugs, so Ayaash has killed Bugs, so he's gonna have to rescue him and get him again. I wouldn't really like to say who's in the lead here, if I'm honest.
No, it's really interesting to see the split routes of this level go against each other. Because as you say, there's only really 10 seconds between an optimal version of each.
So Tascan on his 3rd light switch now. I actually had no idea that if you sneaked, I thought if you sneaked you lost the super bugs, but obviously you don't. And Ayaash is slightly behind. He's just done the 3rd one. So both are going to enter the boss roughly at the same time. So once we've found all those light switches, we have to fight this boss. And there are 2 parts to this, if you like. The first part is he throws bombs at the shield, and then you have to throw bombs back at his shield. And then the second part is you have to avoid the belly flop animation. There are 2 ways of doing this. You can either stand on the edge of the platform, or you can death abuse.
Well, Tascan uses the hover on the edge of the platform rather than just standing there. I don't think I've seen anybody else do that.
Yes, I believe one of your crew, Treble, may well be in chat there. I don't know if you've noticed, but we apologise for the Brummy accents, Dragon. But yeah, it's an interesting move, the hover, because actually I died having Bugs a bit too far over the other day. So it's definitely a move worth doing to make sure Bugs doesn't die. Yes, I must say I'm considering doing it myself, because I died here the other day doing this unintentionally. And it is one of the most annoying things, kind of getting Bugs' foot over the edge. To avoid the belly flop, you need Bugs to have any part of his foot over the ledge. And this can be quite difficult to see. So this is why our players do the hover ability.
Yeah, it does look more controlled. You can be certain that he's going to fall off if you're hovering over the water at the correct time.
Yes, so much of this game actually is about correct timing. As both players are, I think, moving fairly well together at the same time. And you'll notice he increases his patterns of attack as we go through. So on the first 2 shields, he does 1. On the third and fourth one, he does 2. And on the final one, he does 3. And that's another little annoying thing that happens sometimes. If you run a long distance, the players will skid. And that prevents you from actually having any inputs, which is really frustrating when that happens.
So Tascan done, collected his third boss token from the Viking area. He's now going to move to the Aztec area, which is the first area you're actually supposed to visit after Greenwich.
And you're supposed to get into Aztec with the 10 gears from Greenwich, but what we're going to do is we're going to throw bugs at the door, and he's going to bounce on Taz's head. And it's going to be a little bit of a tricky move to do, as Tascan unfortunately doesn't quite get it there. Actually needs to move. That should be better. There we go. So if you line yourself up with the door, you can throw bugs over the door and land yourself in the Aztec area. This is the area we're supposed to do first.
He's also getting it in second time. This is pretty close.
It is now. Tascan is going for it here. He has not gone for the bounce. I think Ayaash will go for the bounce. So that will give Tascan a small advantage, but he has to be careful, especially in Royal Gardens, because that's where it can go wrong. So now we're inside, the boom round.
Okay.
And this is similar to Moon Valley. You're supposed to find these 3 switches, throw coconuts into them, and then once you've done that, you then fight the boss. Now, Tascan having a few difficulties here getting the first one. This first one is the hardest because of the baboon realm, because of the baboon itself.
Yeah, this baboon is. When I used to run, I couldn't deal with him at all.
No, and the frustrating thing about him is sometimes he comes flying out, and then there are other occasions where he just sits there, and it's almost like you're not anywhere near him.
That's almost leveled the playing field by the looks of it.
They are pretty much neck and neck. Ayaash still slightly behind Tascan. So they now go out of bounds for the second switch. One question you might ask, you might think, well, with all this out of bounds, why don't you just go straight to the boss? Well, we actually can't do that. We actually have to complete all of the tasks in order for the boss to load. So we have to find all these 3 switches first.
Yeah, the game seems to be a touch inconsistent with what is accessible at certain times and what isn't. I think the prime example being the Viking token we saw at the very beginning, where you can just go and get it without the statues. And there's a token later that you'll see in Zoovania that is always there. Is that a soft lock?
I'm wondering what's happened to Tascan there. Has he soft locked?
I think he has.
I think Tascan soft locked. Oh, that's a shame. Let's see what he does. I think that's a soft lock, isn't it? Unfortunately.
He's going to carry on from here, but I mean,
carry on. I think we'll report that back to Discord. I think, unfortunately, that's a soft lock, isn't it? Unfortunately for Tascan, that's a real shame. I don't want to click forfeit in case he comes back, but
Ayaash is saying a reset. I mean, if we're all good,
it's up to Ayaash. That's I must say, that's very sporting of Ayaash if he wants to do that.
If there's time, that is a fantastic gesture to find out if that is the case. But yeah, that is the beauty of, well, not the beauty, as I say, it's the opposite of beauty. From this game, there are soft locks galore all over the place. They are avoidable, but Knight knows a lot more about them than anybody else with 100%.
Yes, I did say on the opening night to the lady who was setting us up, I said that we would do well to avoid a softlock in this game. Unfortunately, that's the second one we've had now. Well done to Ayaash, I must say. That's very, very sporting. Obviously, it's not Tascan's fault, of course. I mean, these things happen, and I mean, there's nothing anyone can do about it. But fair play to Ayaash if he is going to reset.
Yeah, they can happen, as you say, and obviously it's not ideal in a race situation. But we did agree in the before we started the tournament that if those things happen, the runners and the community, if you will, can decide on the outcome. And I think it's always fair to get full race in however we can and however time allows.
I agree, because like when I've played my two matches, I've seen both players kind of doing the thing twice, and I've always thought, well, if I see soft lock or someone tell me to reset, then I will, because I don't. I mean, we're all competitive and we all want to win, but it should be a fair tournament, and it's very good that we all want to see each other do really well. There's no, there's no real serious competitiveness about it. We all want to do really, really well.
Absolutely. So it looks like the reset has got the green light. So while we wait for that to be set up, Bruno, I want to have a quick chat about your fantastic victory on Sunday. And the funny thing was, Xordo took your world record off you after was it about a week of you having it? 2 weeks, maybe?
Something like 10 days or something. I'm not 100% sure. He was always going to get it back from me. In all honesty, I consider him the better player out of us two. I'm delighted to have won on Sunday, but again, I must stress that I got lucky. Xordo, unfortunately, just couldn't get going. And I kind of feel bad because in many ways, if he'd had soft locked, I'd have offered the reset. But I guess because of what happened, I mean, landing in the ice skating area of all places, it was just so. I'm genuinely gutted for Xordo because the bottom line is you'll never know what would have happened. But I think it was just unfortunately too much to come back from.
But was it 31-34? It's such a solid time. The best time we've had in the competition so far, though. Xordo put in a 31-40 something in his first round.
31-41, although I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, that is two immaculate times in a tournament. Phenomenal.
I should say Xordo deserves a lot of credit because Xordo is the person who's put this together. He does so much for our community. He's done a lot for all the categories, even 100. He probably doesn't realise how much he's done in 100 actually. So I'm delighted to have beaten him, but I have nothing but respect for Xordo and all the other players in the community as well. But I think we all owe Xordo a lot of credit for putting this together and being the man who has us here.
Absolutely. I can second that. As we're off again.
So we have to see both players do the flying box strat again.
And just for those wondering, both our runners are French. That's why they're using the French language. There's no language that gives you an advantage. All the cutscenes get skipped. So if anyone was wondering about that, there's no particular language you need to run the game in.
No, it's quite interesting actually to hear the other languages, especially Tweety in French is quite amusing, I must say.
So here we are again, back in the Viking area.
Viking again, talking to Tweety. And there are some instances actually where you don't have to talk to Tweety in order to get the power up. The carrot gun is one, the bounce is another, and the bubble gum, which we'll see later on, is the other one.
Yeah, well, apparently Ayaash is using Italian, so that just proves our point. There's no language advantage. I know it's a thing that people ask sometimes because there are some games where certain things are skipped, etc., in different languages. Bruno, you're gonna have to use Spanish next time you run.
I was about to ask you why, but then I remembered then. Yeah. The only game I can think of actually that does that is the new CTR. You have to be a good character rather than a bad character because Ukuruka speaks really slowly, doesn't he?
I know a lot. Well, there's a lot of ones where like you have to use the Japanese version or Japanese languages as well.
So both players doing super bugs, and then they get the roll. And the roll is the fastest permanent form of movement for bugs. The super bugs we're not, obviously, as we've already explained, we're not allowed to keep. But I always wonder what both categories would look like with more super bugs involved. What would the Boom Realm look like with super bugs involved? What would Royal Gardens look like with super bugs in?
Do you use superbugs still in snowball fighting 100%?
Yes, at the very end of the level. I don't know if it saves any time, if I'm honest, but it just seems a little bit quicker. I'm frustrated I can't use it anywhere else, really. The Boom Realm and Royal Gardens are the two places I can think of that would be the most advantageous to an extent.
It is a handy form of movement, there's no question about it.
And one thing you'll notice as we go through this level, you'll notice both players are jumping. This is only a little bit faster, but it's one of these things, you save a couple of seconds from doing it.
So, Ayaash just getting to the finish there, just ahead of Tascan. Obviously, we're really early in.
So throwing bugs onto the floor is a slightly quicker way of getting down onto the ground. And we'll see Tascan. Oh, he's pulled it off this time now. I wonder if that's a bit faster from Tascan. He managed to... Last time the bugs got squished, but he managed to keep him this time.
Nothing to be nervous about, Bearhead.
No, I've got to say, Bearhead, if anything, I would say you've got nothing to lose there, mate, against me. If anything, all the pressure's on me because I'm expected to win. I honestly saying this is not mind games at all. I honestly think it's a harder game against yourself because I'm expected to win. If I don't win, the tournament opens up as well, which from a neutral perspective we all want, of course. If it weren't myself, I'd want Bearhead to win, but because it's against me, it's a bit different.
Well, of course, this is the start of week 3. Everyone has played 2 games so far, with 3 remaining. This being the 3rd game for these the 2 races, and it is wide open, really.
It is. The other 2 games take place on Thursday and Sunday. The Sunday one against myself and Bearhead is 1 o'clock in Britain. I think it's 6 o'clock Britain on Thursday. That's Certain Trips versus Uxordo. And as I mentioned, if Trips and Bearhead in particular win their respective matches, this opens up the tournament massively because I think we'll have 3 players on 1 win and 3 players on 2. So it really will be anybody's game.
So we just seeing the mini boss here again, as Tascan gets the drawbridge down so he can enter the mini boss as well. Slightly behind, but it is early doors still.
It is. One of the things we talked about before this tournament was a way of skipping this boss, because even if you do this boss quickly, it takes about a minute 50, I think, to get through the whole thing. And it's really frustrating to fight a boss for a minute 50 to get a boss token, and also from a 100% perspective, a 25 gear as well. 25 gear for 1 minute 50. And then you've got the next level, Elmer's Domain, where you get 500 gears in about 4 minutes. So that kind of sums up how frustrating this boss is.
Well, you skip the boss in Baboon Realm, and you skip the boss in Zoovania.
Yes, that's true. Actually, that's one thing that I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but this is actually indirectly linked to a game called Lost in Time, and it's actually an indirect sequel. And funny enough, in the speedrun of Lost in Time, you actually fight tons of bosses, one of which is completely RNG. And if you haven't checked that out, it's definitely worth checking it out. The world record holder is actually doing world record attempts on Twitch. Right, I don't know if he's doing it right now, but he's been doing runs recently. His name is The Dirty, so it's definitely worth checking him out if you like Lost in Time.
Yeah, I feel like Lost in Time was a more recognised game than this one, but this is an absolute gem of a game. Especially from a speedrunning perspective, I sell it every time I come on the commentary, but it's possibly one of the best speed games I've ever played.
I agree. They're two very different games because the levels in Lost in Time are much more linear compared to this game.
It's good fun though. It's part of this. As I said, it is technically a sequel to Lost in Time. And there's rumours of someone who might do back-to-back 100% runs of Lost in Time and Time Busters.
We will see. It won't happen this month, I must say. And I just can't do 100% of Time Busters until I've got this out of the way. Otherwise, I'll start doing 100% strats, and I don't really want to do that yet.
That's absolutely understandable.
So Tascan's slightly behind. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on, yeah, okay. I was just going to remind everyone about there is an any percent category, as Bearhead mentioned. We literally skip everything and get to the last boss. World record is about 2.5 minutes. So if you want a really quick speed game, any percent is the way forward.
Unfortunately, I'll tell you, Bearhead, the one thing I do, and I quite like this idea, I actually warm up with Baba's Cave, which is part of 100%, but not part of this run. So that's kind of been my... I don't know why, I've actually done really well when I've tried it, but I do boss levels of 100%. Boss levels of 100% are brilliant, that's what I will say.
So, where was the soft lock in the first?
We're sort of back where we were. We're around about here. I think Ayaash had got into the boss. So we are now back where we were. Ayaash slightly in front of Tascan. Tascan, again, hasn't gone for the bounce. So we'll see how that plays out later on in the run. Now you'll notice there's a clock with these things that you throw into the switches, but you actually don't need to worry about that clock at all. It's really, really slow. Even in 100%, you've got these gears in the water that have finicky hitboxes, but even then you've got plenty of time to do it. And the one Tascan is on is supposed to be the last one that you do. You're supposed to actually find a switch down by the waterfall that opens up a gate, but the out of bounds skips all that.
Yeah, the places these out of bounds is remarkable, really. And they're such strange locations.
I certainly think there are more to find as well. I certainly think there are more out of bounds that we don't know about yet. So Ayaash has done the boss. As we mentioned, you basically skip the boss by throwing bugs straight into the door, and you get the boss token. And there's a little cutscene skip you can do there as well.
Yeah, so Ayaash now is going for a skip, another out of bounds skip that Tascan himself found, and he's got it first go.
I can report that I miserably failed that the other day, but Tascan has Ayaash has thankfully got it successfully. It was the guy. There's a goon round there that can cause problems. I heard him coming, and he kind of made me panic a bit.
Oh, how did he miss the token with that dive? I thought he was nailed on to get that. Not the. It's a big time loss.
No, it's a difficult thing to do, that dive jump, because if you get it slightly wrong, then you have to recover bugs and get the token again.
Look good from where I'm sitting. Yeah, this out of bounds that Tascan is about to do, the finder, skips a little puzzle, saves you a bit of time. Where you have to dig into the floor as Taz and bump up some blocks to climb up to the top to hit the switch that we can just fall straight to.
If you want to see it done the intended way, watch my run from the other day. And thankfully, both players. Oh, bug got down very quickly there. Sometimes the token despawns when you do that trick. We're not 100% sure why, but if this happens and you go into matching blocks, which is a level on the right, and it will respawn again.
Matching soft lock blocks.
Oh, indeed. Don't get me started on that level. That level is absolutely horrible. And worse now is it will be right at the end of the game, potentially now as well, with the new gear dupe potentially found. So both players now in Sacred Ride, another auto-scroll level. And this one's pretty straightforward. If you watch the animation Tascan's doing here, if you hold left and right on your keyboard, it actually is a slightly quicker animation than walking normally. It's a little bit like Zigzag.
A catchy tune for everyone.
Another one, yes. Another interesting thing, actually, the dragon there is used in Lost in Time. If you go to Lost in Time, or if you know Lost in Time, you will recognise a lot of these characters. And I can say the dragon in Lost in Time is a massive pain because he's got a really funny hitbox.
They're the same dragons that are in that the ice area.
Yes, the carrot level. Yeah. And the mouse is the same from Carrot Factory in Saving the Druid as well. And an interesting fact there is in Lost in Time, he has a really small hitbox when he needs a big hitbox. In this game, he has a really small big hitbox when he needs a small one.
Always the way.
Always the way. So Ayaash now going into Arabian. To get into Arabian, you're supposed to defeat Elmer. But if you throw bugs at the door, I think the hitbox of the throw is big enough to extend you into Arabian. I think that's how Beareg explained it the other day. And you go straight in. And that's one of the tricks she'd love to discover as a kid, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Tascan gets his last token. He's on his way to Arabian 2.
Now, to get the Homeworld token in Arabian, you need to fight free these 4 genies. And Ayaash has just freed the first of them. And this is the only Homeworld token that we kind of do the intended way. So the second genie is a water temple one. We have to swim through this temple here. On the far side, we free the genie. Oh, and Ayaash copying my strat there from the other day to put Taz by the door so you can skip the cutscene a little bit quicker at the end.
So this is where it's a bit risky to skip the bounce in the wind boss that Tascan has entered. You have 2 attempts to jump from the plant pots onto the wind rather than doing the whole puzzle. But if you can get there with the bounce if I go right, there's a backup.
That's right. It's actually one of the best puzzles for skip because I have an idea of how to do most things the intended way in this game, except for that puzzle. I've got no idea what I'm doing there.
Maybe that's the category we need to do, an intended percent.
Intended percent. No out of bounds is something that would certainly be interesting because it actually isn't too much different to regular 100% actually. Now you're supposed to blow up these piranhas that Tascan's going past with bombs, but we just damage abuse off them to go past them a little bit quicker. You can see the health hitbox is very generous. They've both got 6 hits each. So, I mean, it's reasonably hard to die in this game. Not impossible, but fairly hard.
Yeah, we can see Ayaash is in the Carpet Chase now, which is another auto-scroller. As we said, you'll see 4 of these. This one is very simple. You've got to beat the other guy on the carpet to the end. And bring back that lamp.
I must say, French Bug sounds much more enthusiastic than English Bugs there, if I'm honest. So Ayaash, one thing to note about Ayaash recently is he actually has a small PB improvement from the time he has on the leaderboard. He has 33 on the leaderboard, but he actually improved this, I believe, yesterday with a 33.25. So a small improvement, but small improvements are always good. It means you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this tournament has brought out the best in everyone. Yourself getting world record just before we started. Exordo's taking it back. I used small PB. Airhead is time has come down tremendously after coming out of retirement.
So I think this is the thing about this tournament is that, as I said on Sunday, there are no easy games at all. Every game, you know, if you're not careful or you make a mistake, it is very easy to lose. So that's the great thing about this tournament is it is so open and it is at the moment anybody's game.
Yeah, so now Ayaash is in Royal Gardens. You have to collect 3 pearls to get, and they will spawn onto the lion statues, and that will generate your boss token.
Now, this first pearl, we do the intended way. We have to throw bugs through these rings in order to get the rope to open up, basically. I always think the key with these rings is just to take your time, really, and make sure bugs doesn't clip the edges, because that's the biggest problem with them. If bugs touches the edges of the ring, then they won't count, and you have to throw bugs through the ring again.
Yeah, and that is really annoying.
Meanwhile, Tascan takes a slightly different route here. He goes to the Earth Temple first, and there's no advantage or disadvantage to doing this. It's perhaps a bit of a psychological move, I guess, if you like.
Sorry, I love the swag from Ayaash. Throwing him back through the ring.
Oh, yes, I was I was wondering what he did, but it was quite good. So that Genie is the only one I think we do kind of the unintended way. You're supposed to lower and dig up all these poles, but you can just go out of bounds there. It works slightly differently from some of the others. You have to walk along the wall first. And you actually don't even spawn walk there if you go out of bounds. When you don't hover when you're out of bounds, if you don't hover, you will spawn walk back to the very beginning of the level.
Yeah, so now we're seeing Ayaash. He's done one. He's doing the second one. There are 2 out of bounds here in the same spot. You just call bugs back to Taz. There you go. He's falling out for the second time there, and you can fall straight down onto the other 2 pearls rather than complete them the way they're supposed to be completed.
Now you'll notice there, Ayaash, he was swirling round when he's below the map, so that means he's not holding any directional buttons, which is actually a safer option to do in some ways because the skybox looks the same, so it's not actually really that easy to tell where you're going in the map. So this is definitely a good option if you're not sure where you're going.
And as you see, 3 pearls gives you the boss token.
And then this boss token, if you do it my method, it always takes ages to load. I don't know why. It's taking ages for Ayaash there as well.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that before. I have I don't know, Tazzy fell through the map on the out of bounds that put him back at the beginning, which put him close to the token.
Yes, that's an interesting strat. It's whether how much time it actually saves on my method. I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. It's probably about the same, I'd imagine.
Mm.
So now Ayaash on the Earth Genie.
Yeah, and this is the one out of bounds where you walk level with the floor for a bit before you fall down. Just get yourself into a better position to land straight on top of the genie.
Tascan doing really well there, just to make sure he fell out in the right place. Meanwhile, Ayaash making his way to our final temple, which is the fire temple. We do this kind of the intended way, but we don't really. We're going to damage abuse across the lava rather than going across the platforms like you're supposed to. And you can do a cutscene skip there with that final genie, but it's fairly hard to pull off. You need to have Taz in the right place and to time Taz's exit perfectly to execute it well.
Super.
I always love hearing things in different languages. Like it's great when you hear things in different languages. Oh, a nice move there from Tascam, getting Taz to jump through the scenery there.
And the token loaded straight away there. Wait, is he? Did he collect that before the cutscene?
He collected it very quickly. I must say, I'm impressed by that. You see, this is the thing with Tascam. He may lose games and he may end up finishing bottom, but he comes up with different ways of doing things, and that's what I like about Tascam. He's always got a different method of doing things.
So we should have seen from Ayaash there that the old conventional way of getting out of bounds at the start, diving through the Arabian door. It's an easier way to get out of bounds in the Greenwich area than the box clip, but it is a bit slower.
It's actually a really good way of learning any percent. If you want to learn any percent, but you can't do flying box, it is possible to get sub 3 with that method. Tascan getting his final boss token of Arabian and will now move on to Tweety to pick up the carrot gun. And you actually don't need to talk to Tweety in 100% to get this. You get this from count, actually.
So here's that out of bounds that I was referring to that Ayaash did. There's
Go on.
I was just going to say Ayaash is in Bearhead's favourite level.
Snap. I was literally about to say the same, yeah, as it's now being affectionately known as Heartbreak River, as it's called these days. In this category, it's fine. You just have to get through the end of the level unscathed, but in 100%, this level is really terrible because the gears in the air are very possible to jump over. So take, for example, this 5 gear here on the right-hand side of where Ayaash is now. If you jump over that 5 gear, game over. Because obviously you have to do the level 3 times, and in my position, that's just I can't accept that. Unfortunately, it's just it's a mistake too many.
Yes, while both players are doing the autoscroller, it's worth noting that despite this run is all boss tokens, the boss tokens actually don't count to any percentage in this game. So for 100%, you don't need to collect them. And for any percent, you obviously don't need them because you can get straight to the final boss using out of bounds and clips. So this is I don't want to say a special category, but a category made just to have a perfectly length to run.
It's given it more identity. I agree with what you said there, Trevor. I'd say it's given it more purpose and more of an identity. So Ayaash out of Haunted River. Can't quite get the dive jump there onto the ledge. Only saves a small amount of time. And now he'll go into the hardest trick of this particular category, where you have to gate clip to get this token here. You're supposed to find these monsters and get them to run up to the top of the towers and punch the bells. They're really, really slow and annoying, so it's definitely worth doing this.
You're getting some love in the chat, Blue Knight. And deservedly so, I must add.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes. Well, I mean, thank you. I maintain the fact that I got lucky. But I call Luxordo on a bad day. But at the end of the day, you know, I don't really. I don't think it really matters who wins the tournament. Yeah. I've had great fun doing this. I can't believe we're doing this. Really, I didn't know if we'd do this or not. And just to be part of this, commentating on it, is fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to commentate as well as someone not involved in the tournament.
So Ayaash now in our final level, the longest level in either category. This is Zouvania, and this is a little bit similar to the other levels, only you have to find these 4 switches to turn the clock from day to night. Now, something I should mention, I actually did this a slightly different way the other day. I actually got the outer bands out of the way first, and I've decided to call this the Aitor theory, which Treble will understand, but no one else will. That basically I did it because it was my way of saying, well, I'm ahead and I want to sit on my lead. Hence why I've called it
that makes perfect sense to me. Just knowing there, Tascan nailed the clip through the gate to get the token first go, so that's going to catch him up a little bit.
He did. Ayaash had a few problems with that, so perhaps a small window of opportunity for Tascan to come back.
To anyone who wants to learn that, my advice would be, if you do miss it, try and get that carrot that comes out of Taz, because the last thing you want to do is kill Taz and leave bugs inside. I've done that before.
So where Ayaash is now, what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to push the 2 cages onto the switch and then have Taz stand on that switch as well. But if you stand on the switch with Taz and then run away, you can glitch the game into thinking that you've got the cages on. It's really clever. And it's only a small time loss on doing it with the out of bounds method.
Yeah, I was about to ask how much time loss is it?
I'm not sure. It depends how confident you are about. I mean, I always go for it because I personally think it's quicker, but it honestly depends on how confident you are. If you're not confident with out of bounds, then I think it's the best thing to do.
Yeah, it's why I love this game. I say this is my 3rd commentary. I say it every time. The amount of backup strats that are in this particular category, and well, in any percent as well, I guess, makes it the perfect speed game to go a different route and still get a solid time.
I don't know if we're going to do an any percent tournament or not, but I can't wait for an any percent tournament because I'm not favourite, which is the best thing, and it's going to be a right blast because it's a lot of it's going to probably be decided by count as well.
And you definitely can't count on him.
That's fantastic. That is Treble. Okay, so Ayaash now doing something that we call the bubblegum skip. Now, what you're supposed to do to get the boss token here is you're supposed to fight these plant eaters where Tascan's just coming into now. But the bubblegum skips all that. It's only a small time save upon doing it the intended method. So if you lose bubblegum, you actually lose a fair bit of time here. One other thing I should mention as well is you might think with the out of bounds, you might think with the token spinning there, you might think, well, why not just get the token? It's there, right? But like Baboon Realm and Moon Valley, it actually doesn't load until you turn the clock from day to night.
Yeah, which is what I was on about earlier with the Viking token that you can just get without doing anything with the statues, whereas this one, you have to turn it to night time before it's collectible.
So both players are on bubblegum. I should get that. He has.
Oh, nice! He skipped the animation of it hitting the gate there.
I got that for the first time on Sunday in years. I was delighted, I must admit, because I don't normally get that.
So yeah, Ayaash is now going to enter the final boss area. You can clip through that gate the same way we got the token under the bell tower or under the tower. The gate's open with the boss tokens.
And it is possible to clip through that first door. You're supposed to, again, solve all these puzzles to go through these doors. But as is the way with this game, you go straight out of bounds to get through them. Or in this instance, we do something called the Bearhead, as it was found by Bearhead himself. And you just get bugs to jump through the wall there and call Taz, and you're on the other side of the door. I must say, because I've seen the word Bearhead used for years, but I wasn't 100% sure which one they were referring to. At least I know which one it is now. Ooh.
And yeah, Ayaash got a good RNG on count there. Gets him first go.
I think Ayaash will see this home. A bit of an unfortunate mistake there from Tascan. He was meant to call Taz here, but unfortunately he went back to Taz rather than calling him.
That is so easy to do while playing this game.
I should tell you, Bearhead, as well, you actually have another strat in this game that you're accredited to, which is the rugby game. Because I had a problem with that for many, many months until I watched your video and I saw your method and I thought, actually, that's the best way to go. And so you can also accredit yourself to the rugby game as well.
So the final boss that Ayaash is in, you just have to push the 4 gargoyles down from the windowsills into the middle. You're supposed to bounce on Taz's head with Bugs and then call Taz to push these. However, you can actually jump on Bugs' ears and push them down with Taz. And that is a 33-34 from Ayaash.
Very good time.
Very good time.
Tascan also gets the RNG first try as well. You basically do it Bearhead by it was the angle you were kicking the ball at, because I was kicking the ball at all sorts of angles and it wasn't going through the posts. But when I saw what you were doing, it actually helped out massively. So you're also a big help in the rugby as well.
Hey guys.
Hi Ash. Well done, mate. GG's.
Thanks.
Yeah, same for me, GG.
We're just seeing Tascan finishing up now.
Finishing? Great.
Very good of you as well to offer the reset as well on the soft lock as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sporting.
No problem. It can happen to everybody. So this game is a bit. It sucks for that. I had the same crash a few days ago.
Yeah, he's very annoying. As Tascan finishes there with a 34-48.
Oh, great. I think it's
time,
a really good time from him.
Yeah,
that is a good time.
Is it a PB? I'm wondering.
I'm wondering too.
I shall find out.
As I said earlier, the tournament is bringing the best out in everyone. It would not surprise me.
34-18 is PB so no, it's not a PB.
Not quite.
30 seconds behind.
Yeah, still a very good effort, a very good run by both runners.
Excuse me?
A very good run by both of you there.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was nice to race against him.
Yes, and obviously you'll be pleased with the victory as well.
Hmm?
You'll be pleased with the victory there, with taking the win.
Yeah, of course. It's still a good year after my last defeat. I'm happy to have a victory. But I think Tascan would have deserved the victory too. He's quite a good runner. He's not on this game for a long time, and he has already a really good.
Yes, I just learned another game on the side, so but it's not bad. 34, 48.
Yeah,
But
it's good.
GG to
Well
you,
done.
Ayaash.
Well done. Well done.
So it's a very good time. I mean, you've enjoyed yourself, haven't you, Tascan? And in fairness, you've still got 2 games to go. You've got Barehead and Uxordo, so you've certainly still got a part to play in where this title will go.
I will see. I don't know. The next race. The next race for me is again Barehead. We will see.
Your level from Barehead and you are really close yet, so it could be interesting.
Yeah, I think that will be a good race. And you have Uxordo next, right, Ayaash?
Yeah, I think I will lose, but that's not a problem.
Good luck. Actually, it's a good runner, so and
he has beaten me on this. He has beaten me on this game for more than 3 years and a half now, so no problem.
Yeah, we were during the race. We were singing his praises about setting this tournament up and how fantastic it is for us to showcase our game in this way. But Blue Knight is the man to catch at the moment.
Yep.
At the moment, if I lose to Barehead on Sunday, I tell you what, we've got a really. I play Ayaash, I think, on the final round. So if I lose one of my games in between, that's going to be a real barnstormer of a game, because it could well be a title decider, or it could be a mix of a title decider, because you have Uxordo in the mix, you have Trips in the mix, Barehead could also be in the mix as well. We just don't know what's going to happen, do we?
Yeah, it's really an interesting tournament right now. Everything can still happen. That's great.
Yeah, it really is fantastic. And I must admit, the standard of these times that are being put in is incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
I second that as well.
Do you know when his next match?
The next match is on Thursday, I believe.
Thursday? Okay.
Yeah, and that is Uxordo against Certain Trips.
Could be quite interesting too.
Yeah, I think that's 1 p.m. Eastern time, which is 6 p.m. British time.
Yes.
So 8 p.m. in France.
I think it's 7. I think it's 7.
7. Yeah, it's 7.
Yeah.
7, yeah.
That's it.
So that is our next race in the schedule. This is round 3 of fixtures, with most runners still having 3 to play, but Ayaash and Tascan have 2 left to play after today's race.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe I win 1.
You definitely deserve to, Tascan. I must admit, you deserve a victory, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think you certainly deserve a victory against somebody, because I mean, in fairness, that time would have beaten Trips the other day. So hopefully you can pick up 1.
Definitely can.
Yeah, your time with Trips are really narrow for the 2 previous races. Maybe against Barehead, yeah.
Maybe I need to practice before the next race against Barehead.
Yeah. That could be a great one.
Yeah, practice. That seems to make perfect with the Blue Knight practicing and getting a world record, and then Uxordo practicing and getting his world record back, and then Ayaash got a little PB yesterday in practice. So it's working for everyone, and like I said, the times have been so good from everybody. It's such a high standard, really good to watch.
Yes, that was fun. So thanks to you to commentate, right?
Yeah,
And
thanks a
thanks
lot. Yeah.
Ayaash
Well played to you.
and Gigi.
No problem. It's a pleasure for myself and Treble to commentate on these games. We enjoy them.
It's a pleasure for me to be under no pressure, or because I'm not involved, just to sit and watch this quality gameplay. But yeah, it's great to be involved. It really is.
It's great having two people commentate as well, actually, because at least then you can kind of keep an eye on what the other player's doing, whilst one person talks about what someone else is doing.
It's quite great here to be two to commentate.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, if you're wondering any more information about the schedule and the standings, or fancy joining our Discord to meet the community and see what's going on, exclamation BBTTB in the chat.
Exclamation R to follow the runners, exclamation mark C to follow the commentators. And just to recap, on the 24th of September, Thursday, we've got Luxordo versus Certain Trips. Just bear with me a second.
And on Sunday, we have Bearhead versus the Blue Knight.
Mini Ashes.
Mini Ashes, yeah. I wonder if anyone will get that reference. And that one is at, I'm gonna try and get this right. So I think it's 12 p.m. UK, and is that 9 p.m. In Australia?
Is it not 1 o'clock? Yeah, it's 1 o'clock, isn't it?
So we said 8 a.m. on the schedule.
1, 2, 3. It's 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, Britain.
1 o'clock. Okay, 1 o'clock British time.
Yeah.
And 10 p.m. in Australia. I love we have like the core of the runners in the middle of Europe, and then we have Trips in America and Bearhead in Australia. We really are covering the globe with this tournament.
Yeah, we are all around the world right now. 3 Frenchies, but the rest of it are dispatched.
I don't know if you've seen Bearhead's comment in the chat.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Play at Edgbaston. Make sure he loses.
Brilliant. Well, unless anyone else have anything to add, I think we can wrap up there. Once again, GG to Ayaash for winning, and GG to Tascam for a nice solid time.
Thanks.
And well done on the reset. That was a very nice thing to do, and hopefully it was a nice and quick turnaround for us.
Thanks to both of you for the commentating again, and see you.
No problem. Thanks. Same as what Treble said. Thanks for taking part and all the stuff, and thanks to Treble as well for joining me as well.
My pleasure. I'll try and join whenever I can. It's always good to this fantastic tournament unfold.
Okay, so I think everyone will say goodbye, and then we will call it a day.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So take care, everyone, and that's all, folks.
See you soon.
Bye bye.
See you soon.